All right. Good evening, everyone. Greetings. Oh, Nova Scotia, Wisconsin. Hello. I hope you're all doing well tonight. And today we are going to be talking about part history and part getting you ready for your future living conditions in the new Canada, the post, what is it called? The post-national Canada, the communist Canada, okay? It's communism. Who are we kidding? So we are going to be taking a look at the fantastic new way of life we will have, but specifically tonight, where do I think Canadians are going to end up living, knowing that a Trudeau government or some kind of a government like him will be in power, and where they're going to put us. And all of this is based on how it's been done in the past. So that's the part history part, and then part future predictions. So anyways, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a good week. Last week I did mention in my stream that coffee company, the Resistance Coffee Company, was in Alberta, and that's not true. They are in Saskatchewan. So my husband had to go in the chat and try to rescue the misinformation that I was spewing. So I think that is like legit the first time I actually gave out misinformation on this channel. And so they are in Saskatchewan. So if you want to buy their coffee, and again, I'm not sponsored by them. I just like their stuff, and I like that they're freedom fighters. So and this is why they don't sponsor me, because I can't even put them in the right province. So anyways, Resistance Coffee Company, you guys go check them out. And yeah, we thoroughly enjoy that coffee almost every morning now. So, okay. Hello, everyone. David and Joad, always here. Thank you. And a moderator now. And my husband, who just gave me the okay from the front room. That is him there. Everybody give him a nice hi. Jim Mora right in the chat. Okay, so yeah, thanks. Some of us will end up in the Gulag. That'll be our new living quarters. I think I'll be in the Gulag, that's for sure. But it will probably be a mix of Gulag and then new homes that the government is going to build for all of the new people. So we're dealing with a few things. I don't know if you can hear my little dog. She's running around. If you hear like a weird that's her. She's getting food. And anyways, okay. So we are contending now with the problems of our own economy about to crash. But on top of that, the government won't view this as an opportunity to maybe stop the immigration and maybe say, hey, let's give Canadians a chance to rebuild. They're going to amp up the whole immigration as well. So once they lift it, and that's part of the reasons they want to lift the COVID restrictions, is because they want to restart with that whole immigration thing. And they're doing mass immigration. So in the past in Canada, and I'm not anti-immigrant, anybody who's followed my videos already knows that. I don't feel the need to justify myself on that anymore. But in the past, it was a slow trickle of immigration, mostly from European countries, and then it became refugees. So Canada in the last 50 years became known as a place for refugees to come. And now in the last few years, they've decided to put that stuff on steroids and just bring in massive amounts of people from all over the world for, I don't know for what reason. Nobody said what the justification is, why we need people. We're told that stupid thing where they have to work here because our population is not making enough children to take over. But these people will also need the infrastructure and all that. So I don't understand the reason, when you promote your own population to have more kids, if that was the real deal. So anyways, a different agenda is at play. Speaking of immigration though, hello Jim in the front room. Yes, cheap labor, that's true. So there is right now, and this breaks my heart. So any of you who have been with me in the first series that I did, which was about the Nazis, now we are living through a time where we are seeing these Nazi behavior manifesting itself again. So before I get into where you're going to live in your new communist Canada, I almost called it China. It's almost the same. But before we get into that, I wanted to just do a quick note on the whole attacking Jewish people right now. So you've probably seen a few videos that have been surfacing. Jews in Montreal are getting attacked. Jews, I think it was in DC and LA, Los Angeles, and I think there's a few more places, and they're being attacked. So this is, and apparently they're being attacked by people with Palestinian flags, mobs of people. And now they're demanding who's Jewish here, and if you answer that you are, you get beaten up, that kind of thing. So this is the kind of stuff we're seeing surfacing in the last few days, and just horrific to its core. It should show you, like, anybody that attacks Jews in Montreal makes zero sense to me if you're thinking that you want to demonstrate against Israel. That Jewish person in Montreal has nothing to do with Israel. They live in Montreal. They're Canadian. So it just goes to show you that the agenda is not anti-Israel. It is, but it's deeper than that. It's anti-Jewish. And that is a scary as heck agenda. You guys know we went through that in the Nazi series where we looked what happens to the daily life of a Jew under this kind of system. If you have been following me for a long time, you saw a few videos I did on Islam, how Islam is to its core anti-Jewish. And even the more moderates of Muslim are anti-Semitic by the definition of their religion. It's not me saying that, it's them. It's their own religion is saying that they have to be anti-Semitic. So we already know that if you're in an Islamic country or if you're under Nazis, you will hate the Jews. And it's about the Jews. It's just hating somebody. It's hating a group of people for no reason. It's not about Israel because they're attacking Jewish people that are not in Israel right now under the banner of, you know, it's the war with Israel. It's not. The agenda is far deeper, and it's always about attacking Jews. So anyways, this is what I'm going to ask people to do. If you're out and about, especially if you're in Montreal, there's a large population of Jewish people in Montreal. I lived in the Jewish quarters in Montreal. I'm not Jewish, but I lived very close to the Jewish quarters, and one of the biggest Hasidic Jewish quarters in Canada, actually. And if you see anybody attacking, like, I just hope that you're going to be able to step up and fight on behalf of the Jewish people, like side with them, because really they have nothing to do with this whole Israelo-Palestinian conflict. It's so anyways, I hope us Canadians will find it in our soul to defend our Jewish Canadian citizens against any of these crazy attacks that are happening right now, specifically so that we don't become like those German bystanders who did nothing, right? The German population who claimed they knew nothing, they didn't know. That's false. They were actually afraid to speak up. And I hope that in Canada, now we've learned from that past, and we will be the ones that are standing up for our Canadians, our fellow Canadians. These are Canadians. They're here in Canada. They're Canadian. So anyways, let's stand up with them. If we see them getting abused in the streets physically, like, I hope we will all go in and interfere, because we need to send a message that this is not something we're going to accept. Anyways, I hope that that's what the majority of Canadians will do. So, okay. Yeah, AWOL, you're ready, eh? Like, roll up the sleeves. Like, I love it. We definitely have to not be the bystanders anymore. We've seen what happens. We've seen what happens. Okay, so now let's turn into the more fun part of this, which is fun for all of you, not fun for me. My living headquarters in the new communist Canada are going to be some kind of a gulag somewhere. So it's probably not going to be called a gulag. It's going to be some kind of a internment camp somewhere where they put people who they can't control. And a bunch of us are going to end up there. So that's just kind of the boring place. Like, it's not going to go well for us. But if you think that you are going to escape communism because you don't say anything about anything to anybody, and you're politically like closed, and you don't say to your neighbors anything that could offend the spies that are around you, that could trigger them to report you, you'd think you're safe and that you'll get to keep your home and live there and all that. But in reality, the past communist history has shown us that that is not at all the case. So they always displace the population. Communism, the ideology, always displaces the population. So in the past, it was we need more people in the factories because we need to industrialize. So that's what the USSR did. They were like, we need to industrialize really quickly. So they displaced a large population that was rural over into the more urban areas. And they were like, hey, you're going to go work in this factory here, so go. And that is one of the examples. China did the same thing with their population. They displaced people, but they also brought the industrialization to the peasants. And they said, you guys are going to start making steel. I think it was steel that they made, or iron. I can't remember. Steel. And they put farmers in charge of making steel so they could amp up the production. That went terribly wrong. The steel, the bridges were collapsing. Like, it was just horrific. It was just awful. So anyways, just more brilliant ideas from our communist overlords. In our era, I think it's going to be the displacement of these populations are going to be done on a environmental basis. So it'll be more, and I've talked about this before, this might sound familiar. It'll be more like, we're going to displace you from these rural areas and put you more in the city because we need to make sure that we're not, we're controlling the emissions, we're not endangering nature and all that. So they're going to put us all in these cities. And well, what's going to happen to your home if you live in a smaller town? Well, obviously that'll go to some kind of a member of the party. So if you happen to side with the takeover, you're going to get lucky because you're going to get probably somebody else's home. They're going to kick them out. They're going to put you in that. They're going to turn like headquarters and things like that, like local communist party headquarters. And they'll turn like the most beautiful house in that little small town into the party member and their associates. And then they'll probably build a few of the apartment buildings for you plebs to go live in. So I'll be in the gulag. You'll be in the new apartment buildings. So, oh, what did I say? Somebody's upset with me here. Sorry, lady, but that's racism against Germans and deserve an unfollow. What's racism against? What did I say racist against the Germans? I have no idea. It's just somebody in the chat here. I don't know if you guys see this. Is this directed at me? I don't even know, but I don't know what I said, anti-Germans, I guess. I have no idea. Oh, goodness. Anyways, okay, so it's probably one of my jihadis, my jihadi trolls that were there. They used to follow me a lot, and then they used to do all this kind of weird comments. The problem is, half the time I don't even understand their comments. I don't think English is their first language, so it kind of makes me laugh because they try to insult me, but I don't even understand what they're saying. So anyways, it's okay. Juad's gonna go and put that person in a timeout soon. Just watch. Okay. So read above. Oh, you're still here, dude. I thought you left. Unsubscribe. Quite honestly, I don't really, I'm not bothered if people unsubscribe because YouTube is doing that for me. They're just, every time I post a new video like this, they unsubscribe me. The next day I'll lose about 10 people. So it's okay. Go ahead. YouTube's going to take care of it anyways. I'm in a losing battle on YouTube here. Oh, and by the way, I do want to stream on Rumble. The problem is you need to have like 50 points or something like that. And I have 0.05 points on Rumble. So I'm far away from streaming on there. But I'll get there, guys. I will get there. Okay. Political full interest. You don't even understand your own comments, eh? That's pretty funny. But anyways, okay. So let's check out the apartments that we are going to live in. So back in the USSR, there was an apartment called the I'm going to butcher this. Check it out. I'm going to butcher this name. The Krushivskoya, Krushivska, something like that. And that was like that 5-story apartment building. Linda, you're not late. I started early because I want to take an early break tonight. So you're not late, my dear, but welcome. But yeah, the Krushivska, I always butcher that name, Khrushchev. It was done under him. It started in the 50s. And they decided that it would be a super brilliant idea to go and build these prefab homes in sections and then assemble them on site. So that way they could produce a lot at the same time. A couple of funny things happened though with those apartment buildings. They were 5-story high and they all had a window between the bathroom and the kitchen inside the house, inside the apartment. So another great achievement of the Soviets to put a bathroom window internally to your kitchen. I don't know why you would want that. But anyways, I'm just going to show you a couple of pictures of the the actual Khrushchev, the butchering name. Like, I think I can say these words because then I read them and I'm like, I can do this. And then I get on a live stream and I'm so bloody nervous that I can't pronounce anything. Like, I can barely even speak English. So when I have to do Russian words, it makes it just far, far worse for me. But let me show you this. I'm going to share my screen here. So this is an apartment. It's, see here, the Khrushchevka. You guys say it in the chat. If you think I suck that bad, like, you guys say it. You guys say Khrushchevka. Any Russians in the chat? Anyways, this is an apartment building. So see the 5-story high, because they had decided, yes, I'll just say the Khrushchev. they had decided that 5 stories is the maximum for you not to need an elevator. So that's what they decided to do. So this is an example. I hope we find a few examples of inside of an apartment, like a tour, because they were all built the same, and there we go. I recognize a few here. This is an example of a kitchen. So everybody had the same little stove. They had a counter and a sink, and it was the same everywhere. So this is the whole kitchen part, and you can see that you only have a kitchen and a dining room, and that's it, because they considered that the Soviets considered that your apartment really only needs to be used for sleeping and eating real quick. And oftentimes you would actually eat at the factory that you worked, so they didn't even feel the need to give you a really good kitchen. And the women, like, you had to work too, so it's not like you could stay at home and cook. So the idea behind these wonderful little apartments really is that you have to go in, sleep, and then get to work in the morning. And if you work, I think all days of the week, there's no break. I think maybe on Sundays, some factories gave a break, but for the most part, even school was on Saturdays too. So anyways, those were the super tiny apartments. Oftentimes they had communal spots. So, and I'm showing you this because this is where we're going to get into how it's going to be for Canada as well. This is, I think when they start building these massive apartments to house all of the displaced people, the people who lost their homes because of the economy, they're going to start building these economic type, apartment buildings, just like they did, Khrushchev did in the Soviet Russia, and that's what they're going to start sticking us in. So they tried to make it look, I don't know why everybody, like, if you've noticed the apartments, they all had like a carpet on the wall. I don't understand. Does anybody know why the Soviets always had, like, look, this one here, look, carpet on the wall. What's the idea there? I've just noticed it. I have no idea why they do that. But anyways, this is an example over here. I don't know if you guys can see this, if it's big enough. Let's see if I can make it a bit bigger. It's an oh, there we go. It's a complex. So they made the whole thing into kind of a complex, because the idea that back in the 50s, almost nobody had a car in general, but especially not in the Soviet Russia. It wasn't mass produced. And so they had these kind of complexes that they would build a whole bunch of these up, and then there would be centralized to that would be like all the amenities that you would need, like a grocery store. They would put like a school, a daycare, all of those things be easily accessible by foot into that new apartment that you're assigned to by the state. So you get that apartment, you move in with your family. If you're a bit less lucky, you get a communal apartment. So that would mean that on the floor would be a kitchen and a bathroom for about 4 or 5 families. And you would have to share that. And then you would often live in a bedroom with another family. So imagine that you have a baby and you have to move into this apartment that has another family in it. And it's a younger couple that don't have kids yet. They like their sleep, and your baby's waking them up all night long. Or, you move in with a family that has a toddler and they just finally got their kid to sleep all night long. And now you move in with your baby, and your baby's waking up their toddler. You can see how everybody's grumpy. You share everything. Everybody's full on grumpy. So this is the new kind of complex that I could totally see. Like, some of our buildings in Canada do kind of look like this, but the difference is you have a choice in Canada for now. You have a choice of where you want to live. So you may start out in an apartment like that, and it just demoralizes you so bad that you're like, dude, I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to do 2 jobs. And I'm going to make enough money so that I can move myself into a better apartment, or even a house or a condo or something like that. So there's at least the potential to go up. If you're in USSR, like these guys were, you had no other choice but to live there until the government probably relocates you because they're going to put you in a different factory, for example. And if you think that, you know, I'm in a white collar profession, like I'm a doctor or I'm a lawyer, and you think you're going to escape this kind of environment, this living quarter, you're not going to. They actually had the same, everybody's the same, right? It's equality, it's equity, guys. It's equity. That's the whole principle guiding this communist ideology. So everybody is equal. To each to their ability, to each their own, to each to their ability, whatever that thing that Marx wrote in the Communist Manifesto, that's what this is a reflection in real life is. So the I'm just gonna see if we can find the window. I want to see the window with the bathroom. I'm going to show you guys this. I'm sure there is one. We can find a picture of it. That building I was telling you that has the window between the two rooms. Inside window between kitchen and bathroom. Let's see if that pulls it up. You guys go on Reddit and you listen. Oh, there's one. You go on Reddit and you listen to all these subreddits of the people who came here from communism. They have all these stories. This is what they say. This is how I learned about all this stuff, how it really was to live under communism, because it's all these people telling either their story or their parents' story on here. So yeah, so the window, I think, see this one, see? Kitchen to the bathroom. So yeah, I don't know what it's for. Some people say it was to save electricity. But anyways, I'm not exactly sure, but this is an example. So it's kind of weird. This is a really nice bathroom. It's been remodeled. You can tell this was not from the Soviet era. But yeah, this is an example. So not sure why they had that in there, but it was in every Khrushchevka. Khrushchevka, see? Nailing it tonight. Woo! So, okay. Now, Brezhnev came in and he was like, yeah, not to be undone by, like, he wants to still do better than his predecessor. That was like a Soviet leader thing. Like Stalin was there, and then Khrushchev came in and he denounced Stalin, and then Brezhnev came in and he's like, I'm going to do better than Khrushchev. so he came up with another one. It was the Brezhnev apartment building. I'm going to Google that one. Brezhnev buildings. Apartment. Oops, apartment, 1P in English, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you really quickly. This one was higher. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I think this is likely to be the actual type of thing they're going to do in Canada. So this is the Brezhnevka, which is very similar because they would prefab the pieces in a factory and then bring them on site and then build it. So the construction was super rapid. This is actually a really nice looking building, I have to admit. And they could have a small elevator. And the elevators in there, I'm gonna see if I can find, I don't know if I can find elevators. The elevators are like big like this, like the doors, like both doors, the opening. So you have the door go bloop, like this, you squeeze through, and you have, like, if you're lucky in your Brezhnevka, you have 2 of those elevators to take you up. I saw those and I would not want to go in one, to be quite honest. Okay, let's see if we can see inside. So the Brezhnevka was a little bit bigger because they realized how demoralizing it was to live in a Khrushchevka. So they actually changed it a little bit, made it a bit bigger. Oh, check out, this is an elevator here. Look at the opening. The opening, look at this. I think this one is a redone one because they were never side by side initially when they were made. So this is probably a newer one. I'm not sure, but they were like, this is the original size that I used to see when I was looking at the Soviet architecture. So anyways, and you could, like, we have buildings in Canada, they look like this. It's not, I'm not attacking the Soviet architecture here. I'm attacking the Soviets, okay, not the architecture. It's just the fact that you have literally no other ability. You cannot get out of this, even if you want to. in a communist country. So once Canada moves over to this communist state in a few maybe a year, maybe two, we're going to see the amping up of that. So they're probably going to, under the environmental banner, saying, look, we need to use less cars. Canada's too spread out. We need to maximize our energy, you know, concentrate it in the middle somewhere. So they're going to try to bring as many people over into the cities. And from there, they're going to have the amenities so that nobody has to own a car. That'll be the new goal of Canada. It will be no car ownership kind of thing. It won't be electrical car because I think the economy is going to take such a long time to recover that people won't even be able to buy an electrical car. The States will have that, but Canada, we're not going to have that. We're going to have bicycles. So yeah, get your bikes ready. Oh yeah, and learn how to like repair bikes. Like that would be my advice. It's no joke, no word of a lie. Learn how to repair a bike because that'll be a valuable skill in our new communist Canada. Now, of course, we're going to be in the same boat that USSR was. This is why I like to compare it to the USSR because they had the cold winters like we have in Canada for the most part. I know you guys in Nova Scotia don't get the bad winters like we do in Ontario and Quebec, but still, in Alberta they get some really frosty times over there too. BC, you guys are like, yeah, you guys have it easy for that. You guys will be faring far better in this communist Canada because of your weather out there. So you'll have the ability to produce food for longer periods of time in the year, a longer stretch than we do. And your winters don't get as cold. So you guys won't be freezing in your Khrushchevska, Brezhnevska. What are ours going to be called? The Trudowski? That's the building, the Trudowski. In our Trudowskis, we're going to be freezing in Ontario, whichever cities they decide to actually put them in. We're going to have probably things like cyclical power outages because they're going to have to conserve. So they're not going to admit it's because they suck at managing stuff. The Communist Party of Canada is going to say, well, you can only have electricity because like from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Tuesdays, because that's how we're going to save the environment, okay? That's how we'll save it. You got to do this. We're for the greater good, comrade. So anyways, yeah, that is the wonderful future that we have to look forward to. I'm sure that some of us will have to go into the communal apartments, the ones where you have multiple families sharing kitchens. So get ready for that. Get your bike ready because you're gonna have to get in shape to ride that thing. And I don't know what we're gonna do in the winter, probably skiing. We'll go back like when I was studying history of New France, we used to learn about the Amérindiens. How would you call that? Whatever you call them, I'm sure that is politically incorrect now because I studied in the 90s. So whatever happened in the 90s is now politically incorrect. Amérindiens, Native Indians, I don't know. Anyways, they would use to go on raquette. What is raquette in English? Raquette is when you put a shoe on your foot, but it looks like a tennis racket, and you would put that to walk in the snow, so you wouldn't like fall through the snow. So we might have to go back to that, go back to our Native Indian connection that we have in our country and learn from that. So anyways, it's called a raquette. I don't know what it's called in English. But yeah, so it's gonna be pretty interesting trying to get around in the winter time. That'll be fun. And is it really called raquette shoes? Look at this. Is it really called that? That would be amazing. That would be amazing if I got it right and I didn't even know. Snowshoe, yes, I've seen that. Is that what it is here? This is what David's saying here, snowshoe. Maybe that's what it is. Oh yeah, Colt, somebody else said it here. Colt said it too. Yeah, the play chihuahua. Oh my goodness. So let me see if she's around. Junebug, I'm going to show you the play chihuahua. Junebug, where are you, girl? I don't know. Next time I see her come through, I'm going to bring her up on camera. Oh, there she is. Hi, come here. Come here. Oh, this is the play chihuahua. This little darling right here. So she won't survive in Canadian winter in the Trudowski. Anyways, okay, Junebug. Say hi to everybody. Yeah, my sweet girl. Okay, let's get you back down. There. Okay. That is a plaid Chihuahua right there. So okay, she's I don't know if I told you guys, she's a rescue from Texas. So hello to my Texas friends, American friends in general. But she was all alone roaming the streets of Texas when they there's a Texas Chihuahua rescue group, and they kind of try to round them up and see if they can get adopted out. So that's how we got her. She's funny because she didn't trust us for a long time, and she would always run away from us. But I think now we've won her over, and she's the cutest little thing. So, anyways, that is my little dog intermittence here. I won't make this about my dog, trust me. Okay, so yeah, we have the us people that will end up in the gulag, and the gulag won't be great because at first it'll be acceptable because it'll be like a worker's environment, but slowly and slowly they'll want to use those environments to get rid of people. That's what's typically always happening. And the gulag, like, they're going to decide where you work. So not only do they decide where you actually live, but if they they're going to start to tell you where to work as well. And if you work for the Soviet government in one of the factories, you'll get paid, right? So you get your apartment subsidized, you get your food subsidized, and everything else is free. So medical, education, and all that. And by free, I mean crappy, because it's free. So you get what you pay for. So that's kind of how your life is going to be if you live in one of those Khrushchevkas or the Brezhnevskas, and you work for the government, but in a factory. So that's a kind of a good life to have under socialism. That's what you want to aim for. If you're politically incorrect or the government just doesn't like you, or they want to get rid of you for something, they're going to put you in a labor camp, a gulag, whatever it's going to be called in Canada, but you're going to go to work for them for free. So you won't get paid by them. You're just going to work. And there's a bunch of, like, the Nazis did it too. They put forced labor, China does it right now, China. So since we're modeling after China, we are going to have a forced labor. And it's great because when you have a forced labor, you don't have to pay. You can do all sorts of stuff to them. So it's a great deal for the government. Like, my gosh, this is probably the best thing that they can ever ask for, because now they have all sorts of people working for them. They don't even have to pay. So perfect arrangement for the government. Not so great for you if you happen to be on the other end of that. And you could end up there anytime, right? That's the fear, the constant fear of living in a Soviet country, a communist country. You think you're okay one day, and all of a sudden you have the secret police at your door, and you're whisked away to a camp. Oftentimes you don't even know what you did. You just whisked away to a camp. Your family doesn't even know where. We've seen small elements of that already implementing in Canada already. Here, Deus, you're late, but it's my fault tonight. I started early. We're talking about where you're going to live when you're under communist Canada. Are you in Canada? You're going to live in one of these places I'm talking about. So what was I talking about? About forced labor. So yeah, if you end up in a forced labor environment, so you'll live in like those barracks, and it's going to be pretty gross. There's going to be like rampant disease. Malnutrition is going to be a common thing. You're going to be dirty. You're not going to have a good sanitation crew over there. So you're going to be pretty dirty, and it's going to be pretty disgusting. And you're going to be working for the government, doing whatever they want. So they're going to be able to make you do all of the stuff that is free for the other people to enjoy. So you'll be producing things like, I don't know, medical supplies for the free healthcare system. You'll be maybe writing textbooks for the free education system. You can do a lot of cool free stuff. You can offer everything for free when you have half your population doing the work for free. That's how it works. So you're going to be building those the Trudowskis, which is the Trudeau apartment building of the new communist era. You're going to be building those for free. So of course you can get subsidized housing for everybody if you have people producing houses for free. You have people mining and cutting down trees for free. You can get all these natural resources you pay for really cheap. Super awesome, isn't it? You only have to buy the equipment, really. It's the best deal ever. So anyways, that's where if you're in a workers camp and you ended up there just out of the blue because somebody accused you of something and you didn't get your fair trial, you're going to be living in a workers camp. And eventually the workers camp could degenerate into a death camp, more so, some of them will. And if you're destined for that, then they're going to find ways to get rid of you. Now, oh yes, this is where I was going before. We've seen the seeds of that already in Canada under the COVID banner. So it was very indicative. If you were observant during this whole last year, 14 months that we've been going through, if you watch the government behavior and you start to look at it in a historical context of what was done before, you start to see that we've already sown the seeds of communism here. They're already here. And now they're just trying to grow the little seedlings of communists here in Canada. So the COVID hotels was the test. It was the first test to see, will Canadians do this? Will they accept it? Will they accept it under the COVID banner? And then how far can we push? So a lot of people did accept the COVID hotels, and they did stay there when they would come back. And that was the first test to see, hey, is that going to work? And from there, you can see very easily where you could say, okay, well, initially it was just for 2 weeks if you had COVID, but then it was for 3 days if you were healthy. So you were locked in a government-run facility for 3 days if you're healthy for the new crime of having traveled. So you can see how easily that can go. From that to Gulag is not very many steps at all, because the next time it could be, oh, there's a new pandemic or there's a global environmental crisis. We need to lock you in a government-run facility for 1 month, right? And then it's just 1 month, so you think, okay, whatever. Then it'll be 2 months, 4 months, right? Same for the lockdown. They've tested it out by trying to see, will people get upset if we literally lock them down in their homes for a year? And I don't think it's been kind of a year on and off with different restrictions at different times. But essentially what the government has done is it has now realized it can tell its own citizens to house arrest themselves, and they'll do it. So that's what that 1 year lockdown, the side effect, maybe that wasn't the initial goal. Maybe these politicians were sincerely thinking they would stop the spread of COVID. But the fact that now we've realized, after we've had enough time to gather data, we've realized now there's no need for these lockdowns anymore. But our government in Canada is still doing the lockdown. It just goes to show you the seeds of the actual future in imprisonment have been sown for everybody. So they've tested it on the travelers, but they've also tested it on most of the population, and the people went along with it. They had the curfews in Quebec. That was another test to see, hey, are they gonna say anything if we tell them they can't get out of their house after 8? And that was also supposed to be for 2 weeks, but it was for whatever it ended up being, 14, 16 weeks. So I think they literally just stopped right now. Those whole no, it's still not lifted. It's lifting. I saw it's lifting for François Legault's birthday weekend. So he gave himself a nice birthday present. He can now have his friends over because he won't have a curfew anymore. So anyways, very convenient. Scribbler, you made it. Awesome. Hey, how's it going? I haven't talked to you guys in the chat today. I've kind of been ignoring everybody. Sorry. I was obsessed with showing you the new living quarters you're going to have. Tassaniko, hello. GDR, Faye Knox. Faye, always one of my favorites in here. Thank you so much for joining. Howard. Terry McLeod is here. Hey, Terry. Yeah, so just trying to see if Saint Jean is here. Binks, you guys are all here. Maximus, hello, Maximus. Look great. Was that Renovated DIY Diva? That is a long but very cool name. you can try to renovate your Trudowski apartment when you get yours, DIY diva, but you're going to be scarce on materials. Just a heads up on that one. So anyways, so yes, so many people, open Bob. So many of you guys are here tonight. If I missed anybody, I am so sorry. And 58266. That will be your name in the gulag as well, 58266. I'm just kidding. That'd be my name in the gulag. So anyways, okay, I'll get back to this. Okay, so yeah, so you can end up in the gulag, in the worker camp. You can end up, based on what I've seen with the COVID hotels, I think it's a very legit possibility that in the next year, they start putting people who have not gotten the plasticine into those government-run facilities. So this is where I think they're setting up the groundwork for this, because you always have to have a category of your population that right out of the gates you can eliminate. And every communist regime has done this. And I can't remember the stat. I said it in one of my videos like a year ago, but it's a huge amount of people that you just get rid of right off the bat. So in our new world for Canada, it's going to be the plasticine versus the non-plasticined people. And the plasticine people will be able to have their plasticine passport. They'll be okay. And the non-plasticine people will be viewed as the new disgusting, you guys are gross, you should have gotten the plasticine, why didn't you get the plasticine, you're ruining it for all of us, you're putting us all in danger. So the non-plasticine people who don't have the plasticine passport are going to be the new category of people to get rid of. And I can see that with the COVID hotels, which was for the travelers, and only under the banner of we just want to test you, we want to make sure you're not going to go and ruin the population with your travels and whatever you picked up along the way. In the new 1 year from now Canada, it's going to be the non-plasticined people. Those are going to be the ones who are going to be slowly start sent. And it might be something like, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do it so that's the boiling frog theory, so it doesn't actually cause a massive amount of problems right off the bat, like rebellion problems. The government doesn't want a rebellion. But if we see, I'm just going to shut my door. My neighbor's dog, Harvey, is out barking. He's going to be loud for a long time, so I have to cut him out. Anyways, okay, so the non-plasticine people will be the ones that are targeted, and it can be, I think Trudeau might do something like, well, we're just going to put you there for 1 month, right? Just 1 month in an internment camp. Because you're not vaccinated, they'll give you, I said the word, oh my gosh, the YouTube AI. They're going to give us an opportunity when we're being held in an internment camp to get the plasticine. And if we refuse, that is when it can be extended indefinitely. So we'll become the new free workers for Canada, building your new Trudowski apartment buildings. And that is easily, I can see that happening, easily. Now, for all the other people, the people who got the plasticine and are out of work, though, because the economy has tanked by this time, the inflation has gone up, they are going to be heavily subsidized by the government. So your rent will be subsidized, your food, exactly like in the Soviet era. Everything will be subsidized for you except for the free stuff. And you are going to be able to live relatively okay for a while, I think. It won't be, I've heard from testimonies from the USSR that it's not a horrible life if you're just a normal dude and you just go to work and you do your job. It's not horrible, but that is definitely not the majority. What sucks, if you're born in that kind of environment, I can maybe understand because you were never exposed to something else. But if you're like us, where you knew freedom before and now it's all been taken away, it's still going to suck for you for a long time. So, you have your apartments subsidized. You have whatever it is, universal basic income. That's the new thing they're trying to bring in. That's going to be basically your whole life will be subsidized by the government. That's essentially what UBI, Universal Basic Income, means. It means you are now subsidized by the government. So when you're subsidized by the government, unfortunately for you, you lose all of your freedoms, and you are now answerable to the government. And that is why they can decide everything in your life from that point on. So if you behave, you're good little commie Canada commie, you're going to be going and living in a small apartment, one room, small kitchen, and you're going to be expected to go work where the government tells you to work, and you'll get a small pay. And then you'll be told everything else is free. You'll be having all this propaganda all day long telling you how awesome your life is. You won't see anything coming in from anywhere else because the government will have blocked the internet. So we'll have a Chinese version of the internet. That's coming soon. Yeah, communism not an option for you, eh, Dave? Yeah, I don't know. Hi, Val. You're from the States, eh? You guys are gonna see a whole bunch of people from Canada come down as refugees pretty soon. So that's going to be awful for you. But yeah, and Terry, I wish we could have a plasticine-free community, but that's not what's going to be accepted by the communist government. You can't have a subsection of your population that is living in freedom for your communist regime to be effective. So unfortunately, it's going to be the end of that. Plasticine then is what I have to call the I can't say it on here. Somebody can put it in the chat, because the problem is I'm dealing with the AIs from YouTube, and they pick out the words that you say, and if you say it like 2 or 3 times, if you say certain words, you get an automatic strike, and I had a strike last time I said this word, so I'm trying to not say it anymore. So there we go. Just look in the chat. Who was it? It was Dan. Dan, just look in the chat. A whole bunch of people put it there for you. Thanks, guys, for putting that in the chat. Yeah, we are going to see. Yeah, the older people, you guys, if you don't want communism, you're going to be sent to the gulag. Sorry. Sorry, Linda. Sorry, Dave. You guys are going to head over to that, yeah, the gulag first if you oppose this. You could just like not say anything and just live the rest of your life, freedom lost and everything, but at least you're alive. I don't know. I don't know what the best option is for any of that. But anyways, so yeah, so it's going to be pretty brutal. So we'll have, just to recap, I know a lot of people have joined a little bit later because I started early, but to recap, you guys, what you're going to have in a few years in Canada will be new apartment buildings. They're going to hoard us all into the cities. New apartment buildings that the government is going to hastily construct. They're going to be ugly. They're going to be small. It's going to be cold in the winter, too hot in the summer. You will live with your extended family in there. So it's not going to be just you. It's going to be your extended family. And then that's if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, like the people like me who are going to fight to the end, we will be in the gulag. So the COVID hotels are going to be expanded to have a new meaning in a few years. They're going to become the Canadian gulag, where we're going to go and work for the government with no subsidy, nothing. We're not going to be subsidized. So the normies, the people who go along with this, they'll be subsidized by the government as an individual. So they'll be told what to do, but the other people, we will be owned by the government. All of us, to a certain degree, will be owned by the government, but the people in the gulag who are working for free, we will be completely owned by the government. They'll take away everything from us. The last thing will be our life, and that'll be whenever we can't be productive anymore, or whenever we're too much of a trouble for them. So, and it's really depressing. I know it's depressing to think about, and I'm trying to prepare people, because this is the reality we've gotten ourselves into. And I used to have this idea that, well, you know, in the end, good always prevails, and we're going to be okay. It's not going to happen here, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? The bad people always seem to come off on top a lot of the times. Not always, but a lot of the time. So it's going to be really, interesting to see. Mandy, you're asking what's going to happen to our houses. Well, if your house is nice, it's going to go to a party member, Communist Party member. The higher ranking will get the bigger houses. The lower ranking, like local guys, they'll get your house. That's pretty much how it's going to work. I think a lot of the, like, neighborhoods that might be closer to big cities but are not really nice, they're probably going to just blaze over a whole section of the city and just build those buildings where they can cram as many people as possible in them. And I honestly think the rest of it will be declared some kind of crown land where you can't live, because in the name of environment, we have to give it back to nature, right? So there'll be some propaganda around that. They have to give it back to nature. We need to reduce our carbon footprint and blah, 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 blah. You know, that's what's going to happen with all of our homes. And they're probably going to salvage some stuff from it and use it somewhere else. So they're going to send people to villages and take apart things and bring back what's valuable. There's going to be looting along the way. It's going to be pretty horrific. But yeah, it's going to be a big change for Canadians because we're not used to this. But if they bring in a lot of immigrants from countries that are more destitute than ours, the immigrants will be in line with this. They'll be okay with this because they're not fleeing the country because they're trying to go to a better place. They're going to be coming because the Canadian government is trying to round up as many people as possible and bring them here. That it's a new immigration that we're doing. It's not the traditional one. They're really trying to, I think they're trying to get 1.5 million people in 3 years. So that's not the immigration of people who want to come, because if we had such a long list of people trying to get into our country and come here legally, we wouldn't have to promote to kind of go and dragnet people into our country. We could just be like, hey, we have already enough people trying to come in. Let's just go through that list. But the fact that our government is openly stating we want more immigration means they don't have enough, and they're going to have to go out and grab them. They're going to have to go grab people, make it appealing for them to come. So it'll be like, you can live in a free apartment, but they won't tell these immigrants that it's going to be a Trudowski apartment, and that they're going to freeze in the winter. We don't tell that to people because people wouldn't come, especially if you're in like in a warm country. I don't know why you would leave and come to Canada at this point. It would make zero sense to me. At least you can survive in a warm climate, a little bit easier than if it's like -20 half the year and you have no power. That's going to be really, really bad. So is it 90 million? Just check out what Ginja Ninja says. 90 million by 2100. So right now Canada is what are we, 36 million? I can't even remember how many. I'm going to Google that. How many people in Canada live in Canada? There we go. 37.59 million right now in Canada. So if we're at 90 million, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. I guess part of that is going to be the people who come here kind of now and they have 7 or 8 kids. That'll probably be the goal. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that they're trying to do that amount of immigration. So they are going to need those buildings to be built really fast. Oh, Michael Buck is in the chat. Hey, Michael. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Crit is here. Oh, hi, Crit. I hope everybody's doing well. But yes, so it's funny because they're talking about population reduction, but I don't know where they're trying to put the reduction because it's not in Canada. They're not reducing our population here. So yeah, that's it. So Open Bob, is that the same thing, the Project 100 million? Is that the same thing that Ginja Ninja is talking about? I think it is. This one here. It sounds like it's the same. Project 100 million, is that by 2100? Sounds like it's the same. But anyways, so yeah, just absolutely crazy. Our new headquarters will not be fun. I can guarantee you that. And I think the most, and I'm gonna end on this because it's depressing. So I may as well end on a super depressing note, guys. But I think the most depressing part about the way we're gonna live in the new communist Canada will be the fact that there is no upward mobility. There is nowhere for you to go. You can't work hard and get a better apartment. And this is, again, why under socialism, to produce anything, it has to be at the end of a barrel of a gun. You have to be threatened because you're not motivated by yourself to work. You don't give a crap. You're not getting paid, and you're not motivated. So they have to do it by force, and so they're forcing you to work. That's unfortunately the reason people have no will to do the work under socialist environments, and nothing gets produced, nothing gets invented, nothing is good. But we will have these really crappy apartments coming up that'll replace the landscape of Canada, similar to what the USSR did by replacing their landscape. They had beautiful architecture before. I know the World War demolished a lot of it, so they rebuilt after, but the Soviets rebuilt a whole bunch of really ugly buildings, and that is and it's because they valued efficiency over beauty, and everybody had to have the same, so they built everyone the same apartment. And now that USSR is out of communism, they are still stuck with those buildings. You should go on YouTube, guys. If you're interested in this, go on YouTube and type in something like living in a Soviet building, and you have tons of young Russians now who are talking about how some of these buildings are renovated, some of them are not, and it depends on the owner, because now they have private ownership introduced back in Russia. So you can own an apartment in a Khrushchevka building, and you can renovate it if you want, and then you can rent it out or sell it or whatever. But you should see these young people saying, look, this is my Soviet apartment building, and they show like the stairwells and all. It's really bad. It's really bad. And they admit they don't want to live there. They're stuck. They can't afford anything else. They're starting out. So it's just to tell you guys, the repercussion of the Soviet era is still haunting the generations now who were born after that. It's such a long-term effect. To rebuild your country after socialism, that it's just better not to go there in the first place. It's better to stay capitalistic. And like my solution for Canada would be that we work on an immigration program to take all of the people who want communism here and ship them out to the country of their choice. We can work with the embassies of these different countries to try to get them, but you could say you can go to Cuba, you can go to China, you can go to North Korea. Pick, where do you want to go? We'll send you at taxpayer dollars. I would pay for people. I would pay for the communists now who want to live under communism, who think socialism is so great. I would pay for them to go live in a communist country. Why turn Canada into that? Just go live there yourself, dude. Like, why do you need to change our country? But again, bigger forces are at play. These guys are just the useful idiots in there. So anyways, okay, guys, I'm working on something for next week. I just don't know what it is yet. I have like 5 or 6 ideas that I'm all developing at the same time, and I don't know which one I'm going to present next week. So so a bit of a suspense there, haha. But I hope you tune in next week when we go through whatever that mystery topic is. Go buy some Resistance coffee if you can, out of Saskatchewan. Again, not promoted by them. I'm not sponsored by them, but I just love their stuff. They're so cool. So anyways, thank you everyone for joining. It was so nice to have you, and I will see everyone in the next one. Bye, guys.